What's up everybody, how are you doing this fine Saturday? Now if you're new to my channel and this is the first time that you are watching any of my videos, I suggest that you watch this video first to get the full context of it, and as it is more entertaining, more to the point, and more snappy than this video is, and just go ahead and watch that first before you watch this. As for the rest of y'all, keep on watching, because this is like mainly just a correction video for that video, for what has become my most popular video yet, and that is the "It's Not Okay to Be White?" Exclamation point question mark video. Now what has prompted me to make this video is not only did I receive a whole bunch of comments from people saying that I had basically done goofed in saying that 4chan, or at least implying that 4chan is an alt-right group. I also got confronted by a coworker of mine who saw this video, and he said that I need to get my facts straight, and that 4chan is not alt-right, that the people who posted the "It's Okay to Be White" flyers, they are not alt-right, they're just a bunch of teenagers looking to get a rise out of the media and prove a point. And as to whether they are actually alt-right or not, I cannot tell for sure. I mean, I tried to find out whether 4chan was alt-right or not on Google, and I could not find any articles right off the bat that got talking about it. So, I do not know for sure. But now that I really think about it, I don't think that 4chan is alt-right. Maybe alt-light, but they're not full-on alt-right. See, whenever I heard about 4chan, because I hear very little about 4chan, I watch very little videos about them, but whenever I do hear about them, I kind of get the implication that they are alt-right. If they aren't alt-right, well then I am sorry for giving the implication in my original video that 4chan was alt-right, that 4chan was white nationalists and white supremacists and so on and so forth. And even if they are actually alt-right, well then I'm sorry for jumping the gun. I still jumped the gun on the whole issue. I got kind of caught up in the moment of responding to the whole video because it was just so fun to respond to the racist flyers video from WUSA9. And so at the back 1 minute of my video, I kind of jumped the gun on thinking that they were alt-right. But even so, I still think that this whole situation adds fuel to the rhetoric of the alt-right. 4chan is not alt-right. The people who put up the flyers are not alt-right. I'll give you guys the benefit of the doubt on that, but the way that the media reacted just gives fuel to the rhetoric of the alt-right. How the alt-right like to cry out white genocide and like to have a little bit of a victim mentality when it comes to people criticizing white people. I do not like the victim mentality of the alt-right as much as I do not like the victim mentality of Black Lives Matter. Like the whole issue with them having a diverse cast in Star Wars Episode 7. How one of the main characters was going to be black, a black stormtrooper. How everybody bitched about that and so on and so forth. And I was thinking to myself, get a hold of yourselves, guys. Like, I'm not into that bullcrap. Let the movies be diverse if they want to. That is not a sign of white genocide. What would be a sign of white genocide was if black people were to do a reverse slave trade, where the black people own white people as slaves, or if Native Americans were to do a reverse genocide, and instead it's the Native Americans who are killing off white people systematically. That would be white genocide. But movies getting more diverse, people criticizing white people, that is not genocide. I mean, yes, people criticizing white people just for being white, it's stupid, but it is not a sign of white genocide. Alright? Alright. Before I end off this video, there are some comments that I want to read from down in the comment section of what has become my most popular video now. The first one from Europa Man: the US and Europe should remain white majorities. Why? Why should I care if America was to become majority black or brown or whatever? The next two comments coming from Chaos and Carl. Chaos: see, you had me up until you said it was white nationalists. It wasn't white nationalists, it was 4chan bopping around trying to prove that the media is racist towards white people. Carl: Ree! You were spot on the money right up until 5 minutes. Ha 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 ha. This was not an alt-right action. This was a four-leaf clover raid, not dissimilar to the swimming no of 2011. I could not make that out because he's using symbols. Lol, you are no better than the rest of the mainstream media by fear-mongering for the last minute and 13 seconds. Ah ha 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 ha. And to address both of these comments, like I said, I'm sorry for jumping the gun as far as assuming that 4chan was alt-right, and I hope that everyone who has watched that video and kind of a red flag raised in their mind when I said that 4chan was alt-right, I hope everyone can forgive me on that point. I'm sorry. As far as it being a mainstream media move that I have pulled, I will agree that it was, or in the least bit, it was a pretty dumbass move of me. But fear-mongering for the last minute and 13 seconds, by what I have observed about the alt-right believes in racial purity. I do not think they want to systematically start killing off black people and every other non-white, but they want racial purity is what I have observed in the least bit that they want. That they want us to be nationally white. I mean, take a look at this comment. This comment just proves my point. And watch this video all the way to see what I mean on that. They are against interracial marriage for them to attain the ultimate goal of racial purity in the United States, is what I have observed. I mean, if I am wrong on that, somebody who is part of the alt-right, have a live stream with me on that issue or something. I don't know. But I'm not purposefully trying to fearmonger here. It is what I have seen. It is kind of the implication that I am getting. I mean, if the alt-right doesn't want to legislatively push their agenda, well then I guess we're fine then. But if they do want to push for legislation that prevents people from third world countries immigrating into the United States, just utterly exclude them, well then that would kind of prove my point. Or legislation to prevent white people from marrying people of other colors, well then that would kind of prove my point as well. But even if the alt-right doesn't want to legislatively push against interracial marriage and push against the idea of having more minorities into our country, more racial minorities, I mean, even if they don't want to legislatively do that, even if they just want to do it culturally and socially, attain it through the means of the people and not through the government, I'm still against that. In an instance like this of the supposedly racist flyers, it fuels their own movement. And ultimately, I don't want to end up in a culture of where a whole bunch of alt-righters will shame a person like me for marrying a black woman. And the last comment that I want to read for the day comes from a guy called Observing Libertarian. Now, I do not want to read the entire comment to you guys. I do not want to bore you with it because he basically made a chapter book long response to my video talking about how, basically, to sum it up, how we must remain white if we want to remain a democracy. I left a link down below in the description for the original video of where this comment is setting in, if you guys really want to read the entire comment yourself. But for right now, I just want to read a few snippets of this guy's comment, where it almost seems like he's kind of self-defeating his own argument. The bare bones of it is, white or no, if you want to live in a free society, you had better hope and pray that whites remain the majority in Western civilization. The only places on earth to have civil liberties, such as due process of law, freedom of speech, freedom to practice religion of choice, freedom to engage in economic endeavors, generous social safety net, and representational government, are those places established by, controlled by, or colonized by Indo-Europeans. There are no such examples of democracies or republics like the above stated anywhere in the world which were not founded by, controlled by, or colonized by Indo-Europeans. So the message that I am kind of getting in this entire comment, in this entire part of the comment, is essentially that generally white people like democracy and freedom, and generally non-whites do not like democracy and freedom. I could be totally wrong in thinking that he was trying to imply that, but what he is definitely saying is that majority white countries like democracy and freedom, or provide democracy and freedom, more than majority black, but majority Asian, or majority other non-white race countries. But then later in his comment he says, in Asia, the only representative nations of the above are South Korea, whose government was remade into a Western democracy after the Korean War, and Japan, whose government was remade into a Western democracy after World War II. So on the one hand, Observing Libertarian is saying that if you want freedom and democracy to be preserved, you better hope that a country remains majority white. But then he later says that it is possible for a country to be majority non-white and still have democracy and freedom, with examples like South Korea and Japan. So if it really is possible for a majority of non-whites to be for democracy and freedom, then I do not see what the point is and why that we must make sure that the United States or Europe remains majority white. I mean, honestly, I don't care. I don't care. And there are plenty of examples of people who are non-white who are for democracy and freedom.